feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright, echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Good to see you. I feel like I saw some of you just like 2 minutes ago. How you doing? How's everyone out there having a good night? Hope none of you are kidnapped. If you are, blink twice and we'll try and come and find you. Yeah, we're going to talk some more about this Guthrie investigation, talk about some of these new updates that are coming through, including this car that was seen at a Circle K. So like a convenience store. Let me get set up and then I'll turn on the cameras and stuff like that. Hold on. Yeah, let me try and get this up here for you. How you guys going out there? Having fun? Having fun? Yep, there we go. Yeah, let's talk about this. Is a weird update. I want to talk about why this would happen. Not the kidnapping, the this tip off that they got, because it's a bit strange. This tip off, yeah, hey guys, how are you? Staying after class. I don't know if we're staying after class. How are you guys? Trisha muted my messages. I don't know why that would happen or how that happened or like see these people with the blue spanners in the chat. It wouldn't have been Trisha. It probably would have been one of the moderators. It wouldn't have been her directly. Why that happened, I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't help you. I have no idea. I haven't worked for Web Sleuths in. I left in 2022, 23. I've not worked there in almost 4 years now, so I have no idea. Can't help you. I'm sorry. But that's probably what it was. It probably was a moderator, not yeah, not her herself. I want to talk about this, and it has a quote from a Circle K spokesperson here. They allege on Friday that law enforcement officials reached out to one of their stores on Oracle Road in Tucson after receiving a tip regarding a vehicle of interest. And it goes on to say, and our team has provided them with access to the store's surveillance video. What do you mean a vehicle of interest? This could be, you know how they took a car from Nancy's garage today? Do they mean that car? And like we were talking before, do they think that maybe that car left during the night and then came back and was put back in the garage because maybe that's why they were looking for it? I'm not sure. Very little information coming out about this car as far as I've been able to find. Just that it was a tip that came in and that's it, that they're looking into it. I mean, they're probably getting thousands of tips, right? Like 1 million of them. Let's see here. Yeah. I don't see another. Yeah, here. Law enforcement officials in Arizona are searching for a vehicle or vehicles that may be connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. And then they have that quote from the Circle K spokesperson. Officials haven't said if the vehicle or vehicles, plural, are definitively connected to any part of the crime or if that lead has since evaporated. Very, very interesting. Very interesting about what vehicle could be involved. And, we see them sometimes taking these cars and removing them from properties. And you go, if the theory where people think it's a family member, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's the overarching theme that I keep hearing people talk about is that there's a lot of people out there who think it's a family member involved. And if it is, maybe that's why they've taken these vehicles and now they're looking for video evidence to sort of tie it together. I mean, it's just an idea. Let's have a look here. One of the things here, let me take you here to this photo. We all saw the drone footage and the helicopter footage from today, but let me take you to this photo here. So you see the two agents here, FBI. There we go. You see them here, and they're on this corner of the building, and they seem very intent on looking for something. Maybe you all have a good idea of what it might be, but they spent a lot of time walking that perimeter, looking straight down. Is it what the cameras might have captured, the angles for the cameras? I'm not sure, but an interesting viewpoint because they're not looking out. They're not sort of looking into the far part of the yard. They're just looking basically like along that perimeter of the brickwork of the roof. So I find that a bit strange. Like maybe, yeah, cameras. I don't know. Um, Gail said you don't know who it was. All I know is she's gone and someone took her. What? Sure. That seems to be the gist of it. SP Mom said only 5 minutes late. Oh, now you're in trouble. Elizabeth said, I'm so confused in this case, I keep getting lost. I don't think there's much to get lost about. It's very simple. She was taken from her. We had the timeline here. I'll show it to you. That'll clear it up. The timeline that was given at the press conference yesterday is this one right here. Oh, that worked. Can we get a photo that actually works? There we go. All right. This is the very basic, bare bones look at the case, right? So the night before, January 31st, she travels to the family member's home. Why they're still insisting that we can't use the name and we have to say family member, I got no idea. And then later, a few hours later, after having dinner, playing some games that they were talking about, she was returned home. Family drops Nancy off at home, garage door opens. And then 2 minutes later, garage door closes. February 1st, 2026. That's overnight. So we're into like 1 a.m. in the morning, 1:47. Doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software for those cameras detects a person. No video available because she did not have a running subscription to store video remotely. And then about 16 minutes later, the pacemaker app shows that it has disconnected from the phone. And then we have a big gap between 2:28 a.m. in the morning to the next almost lunchtime the next day, 11:56 a.m. Family checks on Nancy. And then like 7 minutes later, a 911 call to PCSD is made. And then 12 minutes later after that, the first patrol arrives at the property. So that's the bare bones information that the authorities have given us. Everything else is just speculation and bits of information that's sort of being leaked out. Gail says, "My mum has ESP and knows when Ping goes live, I'm sure." That's what it is. Montana says, "Is anybody wondering if someone from the local church knows anything?" I thought that bit from Brian Enton today on that video was a bit strange because it sort of goes against what we've been talking about. The fact that they're like, "Oh no, she watched the church service live, like on a live stream." How would anyone know she was missing then? How would anyone know if that live stream does not tell you who the participants are like a Zoom live stream? How would anyone know? So, how would anyone know she didn't turn up or whatever? It's very strange. Not a detail we've been able to get given. Diane said the case is has gotten very convoluted. It has a little bit. It has a little bit. Kathy said, "How many successful kidnappings have there been in the US? What do you determine as successful? That the person is exchanged for money, or that it's a child that has been taken away from the family and it's like parental abduction? Like what kind of what is your sort of metric for success? Is it money? Like I'd have to know what you consider, successful." Blaze says the only way I can think of this is elderly lady being alive is if the kidnappers have a good idea of her medication, perhaps illegally gotten from a Mexican pharmacy. This would mean planning. You might be right. Montana said maybe someone from the church visits her regularly. Yeah, maybe. Donna said a video call with participants on a big screen. The sort of way it was told to us is that it's sort of like you guys watching me right now, but there's no live chat. So it's just a video. It's not like a Zoom call where you can tell who is there. It's just a video on the internet, but it's live. So I don't know how you would know. SPI said, "Why doesn't the bare bones have anything to do with the church member who told police? Is he a suspect?" I don't know. It could be, but it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't tell us here. That's a good point. It doesn't tell us why the family checked on Nancy, although we know someone reported her missing from that church, but it's not in the timeline that authorities gave out. So you're right. It is a bit weird. Successfully got a ransom. I don't think there's many. Not in the way that you're thinking, where it is a person who has been abducted, taken away, a ransom has been paid, and then that person has come back alive. I think it would be very, very small percentages. Different types of ransom, like ransomware, where they put a software on a computer, like the oil pipeline in Kentucky that happened a while ago, about 7 years ago now. They paid the ransom to get the ransomware taken off the computer. That is successful, but an actual person being exchanged for money, I would think it would be almost nothing. Hold on. Success. I would think it'd be very few. Yeah, I think maybe the ones that we would have all heard about would have been Jack Teach, I hope I'm pronouncing his name, abducted in New York in 1974. He was held for 7 days, and there was a ransom paid of $750,000. That was back in 1974. Then there was Frank Sinatra Jr. in 1963, kidnapped from Lake Tahoe Hotel. He was released after his father paid a $240,000 ransom. The kidnappers were later caught, and the money, most of it, was recovered. Let's see here. Then some even older, like the Lindbergh baby. What else we got? Yeah, Charles Lindbergh. There's another kidnapping of Bobby Greenleaf in 1953. Was kidnapped from a school in Missouri. A $600,000 ransom was paid, but the child was murdered, and the kidnappers were later executed. So I would think that there would be not many that we could point a finger to at all. So, and then maybe DB Cooper, who extorted $200,000 in he was on an aeroplane and then extorted $200,000, jumped out of the aeroplane, and was never seen again. And a lot of people reckon he died. So, I mean, that is not successful. So not a ton, not a ton that we can look at, unfortunately. Let's have a look. Missy Motormouse said, "Where is Mummy Guthrie? Give her back to the world. She's become the world's mummy." Yeah, a lot of people know her from her daughter's TV show. Kelly said, "I feel like so far everything the sheriff has denied turns out to be true, so not sure what to think now." I definitely think that the sheriff has had to walk back multiple things that they have put out into the public domain, which I don't think helps anyone. It just makes this type of thing more murky. So then no one actually knows what, is the truth. And it's made things a little messy. A little messy. All right, here, if we go, yeah, I'm going to take you to ABC Family, CBS 5 in Arizona, where they talk about the truck being removed earlier today, or a vehicle. Okay.
President Trump spoke about the search for Nancy Guthrie today, a few days after he spoke with Savannah and pledged federal resources to help.
We have some things I think that will maybe come out reasonably soon from DOJ or FBI or whoever that could be could be definitive. A lot's taken place in the last couple of hours. A lot of.
Well, as investigators search for clues around Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood again this evening, we have some new video tonight of law enforcement towing what appears to be a gray SUV from her home.
Yeah, it's been nearly a week after it seems she was taken out of the front door, injured and bleeding. Vanessa Ariza is there and has this update.
As we near the end of day 6 in the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie here in Tucson, sheriff's deputies, they remain at the front of her home. We are about a 3-minute walk from Nancy Guthrie's home, and this is how it has been throughout the afternoon. Authorities, law enforcement blocking how far media can get as investigators with the FBI, with the sheriff's department, continue their investigation into the home of Guthrie. Earlier today, a drone caught footage of investigators not only on top of Guthrie's roof at her house and her property, but as well as searching her property. Now, as far as what they are looking for, that remains unknown, but it is important to note that authorities are back out at Nancy Guthrie's home searching for any clues that may help in the recovery and the search for her. Of course, at the end of the day, everyone hoping that she is found safe, but authorities still remaining very tight-lipped as far as what they are searching for. Senator Mark Kelly, he was out at the sheriff's department earlier this afternoon. We had a moment.
Yeah, I'll stop it there. But yeah, more footage of those agents on the roof. And you can see them up here where we go back. There. They're on that roof. They were on the other one, the main building, and then they were on this secondary building over here, which I'm not sure what this is used for. Is it like an office or like like an office type area, like a computer area. It has an air conditioning unit on it on the roof. So it's strange because this particular home does not seem to have a giant HVAC type thing on the roof, but this little one does. So I'm not sure what they're looking for. Marilyn said, "Does that roof look new?" It definitely looks like it was painted not long ago. It definitely looks like it's quite like bright white. And these roofs, because they're very flat, they age and you get like a lot of water when it does rain. Not often in Arizona, but during the monsoon period, it does rain quite frequently every afternoon. Um, they discolor very easily. Oh, it's on the ground. Ah, it's on the ground area. Interesting that that one's on the roof though. But yeah, you can see the authorities just walking around that roof. And it's I was trying to rack my brain like why would you need to get up there other than the cameras people think they saw being taken. You go, what else could they be looking at? And they were looking through that perimeter and I was trying to rack my head like why would you do that? Why would you follow that perimeter of the home? And I haven't been able to come up with anything good for you, but I just thought that was a very strange behavior from authorities to do that because they've already been there. They've already looked on the inside of the home. And I get maybe they're like, hey, we're going to look for a weapon because sometimes criminals throw the weapon onto the roof, hoping that authorities won't find it. But you know, you never know. Kelly said the roof looks like it was recently painted. It's supposed to help reflect the heat. Yeah, that would make sense. That it is to help the heat go back the other way. Yeah, that is. Yeah, if you make it a black roof, you'll get more heat. So, Kathy, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Very kind. SP Mama. Oh, yeah, we did that, my friend. Thank you. But yeah, Kathy, thank you. I don't know who got it, but I hope whoever got it enjoys it. It's very kind. Very, very kind. Did Missy get it? That'd be kind of her. Okay. All right. Um, so they're saying here about the other letter that was given today. A new message regarding Nancy Guthrie was an email sent to KOLD, but I saw a different description of it. Hold on. There's another description of that email. Yeah, here. Yeah. KOLD reported that the note appeared intended to show that it came from the same sender as an earlier message and included sensitive information. The originating IP address differed but used a similar secure server, according to the station's account. And they also said, I wonder if it's in this article. There was another article where they were talking about how it came from the station has a form that you can fill out to send in a tip or something like that. Yeah, here. Both messages were submitted through KOLD's anonymous tip system, which requires users to enter a name, email address, and birthday, but does not verify that information. And they said the information provided on each email differed between the two notes. So if it is a user, something that a user has to write, why would you do that? Why would you change the details each time if you're trying to tell the authorities, hey, it's the same person? Why would you just not use what you wrote the first time? Why would it have to be different? So that immediately sticks out to me because it's not something they're forced to do. It's something that they can just input on their own. So wouldn't you just put like kidnapper, of Nancy Guthrie? I spoke to you the other day in an email. Like they would be like, oh, it's the same guy. And he used the same name. Why would you use a completely different name? So maybe they didn't remember their lie. That tells me maybe it's not the same person emailing. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Rachel. All right, let's have a look. So this is the drone footage from today. Let's see what we can find. Okay, there's a guy waiting at the gate. Riveting, riveting. Look at him. He walked. He walked on grass. Oh my God. It's going to break the case wide open. Let's see what else they're doing. There you go. There's some people. I'm very surprised that they didn't put a flight restriction over the area, considering it's the FBI, and they tend to do it quite frequently. So I'm very interested that the FBI felt very comfortable letting a drone, film the entire thing. Because yeah, normally they don't. They put a flight restriction over the area for drones and helicopters and things like that. All right, let's go forward a little bit. Looks like that officer is on the phone to someone. They're congregating in this corner. Okay. All right, let's go forward a little bit. All right, they're back at the truck. Oh, they get a ladder. This might be when they go to the roof. Let's see if they do that. Yeah, there's that ladder again. Yep, they're going to take it into the backyard. And they're probably going to set it up on the side. Yep. All right, let's see what they do. I want to see what they do when they get on that roof. All right, they're still making sure the ladder is correct. Hey, dude, go back to the other way. What are you doing? Come on, drone operator. No, don't go down. No, take us back. All right, we have to go back. All right, he's coming back. All right, now they're on the roof after he changed the battery in the drone. Yeah, he's very far away at this point. There we go. Yeah, see how they keep doing that? They keep walking along that edge and they're looking straight down. They're not looking out or like into the driveway or whatever. If you guys come up with a good reason why they might be doing that, tell me. I'd like to know because it's very strange. Like if you're like, okay, we want to see the layout of the land and how someone might come in and things like that from a high vantage point, sure, you'd understand. But they're not. They're looking like straight off that edge. Cameras? I mean, they've already looked. They already know where most of them are. Go find the part of the house they're looking at. You mean we should look on the map at that part? We can do that in a minute. Marks on the roof? Let's go forward. and see what they do. All right, they're back at that ladder. Are they coming back down? Yep. So they basically went up there to do that, and then they came back down. Huh. All right, let's go forward. Now they're back. Now they're onto the other roof. All right, they're looking at the HVAC. What is that? All right, let's play this bit. I reckon they're looking for a weapon. See how they're like looking under things? Because like I said, sometimes criminals will throw the weapon on the roof, thinking that authorities won't look for it. And then they're looking down the side of it, maybe for guttering or something like that. Hmm. Now they're looking at the HVAC again. And they're going to come back down once again. Yeah, I reckon they were looking for a weapon. That's what I think it's just a normal thing they do, because like I said, some people do throw a weapon onto the roof. Let's see, what else do they get up to? Is that are they trying to take apart the guttering? It's probably got a pipe, so when it does rain, it comes off the roof over the edge is what I'm thinking. Yeah, is that what they're doing? They're trying to put something in there to see if there's anything in the pipe? Yeah, that's what it looked like. Yeah, I wonder what was the reason? Because they already came out here once before. The FBI, that is, not the PD. Then she's got the camera out taking photos. Which you would have already thought that many photos would have been taken of this particular scene throughout the several searches that they've had. They're very interested in that, whatever that is. I'm not sure if that's a camera or a drainage pipe. Oh, maybe it was a camera. There you go. Camera removed. Sorry, I thought it was a drainage pipe. Camera taken off. Yeah, look here while we work on something else. Could be, but they did take that down. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, I thought it was like one of those drainage pipes that are in the brickwork that are built in, so that when it gets moisture or something on the roof, it drains away from the building. But it was a camera. Very hard to tell with the footage. And now they're under the carport. Beautiful property, by the way. Really pretty. There's that agent up there again. And then they're in that garage area. Look, very strange to head back like almost a week later to do that. A clue from Nancy? Maybe. Yeah, no, I know. I had already heard about the solar camera. Rachel said at dark they collect things into evidence bags. Let's have a look. I don't think we have that one. This one is still daytime out here. So I don't think we have that one. Pretty cool. Is concerning that even almost a week later, you know, they're still trying to do this. Trish said, was there not an unopened Amazon parcel on her doorstep? There probably would be, considering she's been gone for, about a week. She probably orders things on Amazon like we do. Kelly said, after the ransom note, again, the first time they went back, yeah, the FBI has been there to search twice. The PD's been out there like 3 times. So Missy said, I haven't heard anything about them stopping trash or stopping dumpster pickups. I wish they would have. I have a feeling there may be something in a dumpster. I would have thought that the day that she was reported missing and the day that like at midday when she was reported missing and they turned this into a crime scene, that they would have stopped all that. They would have checked all the rubbish bins. They would have looked in that. So let's have a look. Trish said 2 weeks prior, robbery took place with an Amazon delivery ruse. That's pretty common. Hey, Sue, how are you? Actually, they're back out there because another note arrived. Yeah, we know about the note. In the note to prove that they are the same person, they sent the other note. They said Nancy's floodlight didn't work. There was already footage of the floodlight being broken. That was out already like 5 days ago. There was already footage of that online. So that could have been public information that someone could have got from the media filming at the property. That was something that the authorities said they were looking into, whether at the time the first ransom note came in, if the footage of the floodlight was in the public domain or it came after, and I think that was something they were still looking at. So I don't know if that ever got I don't know if that ever got resolved. Hey, how are you? Why are you all believing any aspect of this story? I think this channel here, we're the ones who have been saying maybe they've been doing the whole look over here, look at something shiny over here, when they're actually doing something over here to do with, you know, finding Nancy, arresting someone, that type of thing. So I don't think we're believing anything. But hey, thanks for the question. Montana said Mike King was mentioning there was litter on the front porch from the pots along there, perhaps a scuffle, cause of the blood there. Mike King would probably know. I mean, he's done a lot of investigations. Khaleesa said, we've been told that locals view the local sheriff and the PD as inept and messed up investigations many times. I know he does not have a good reputation. That is something that has gone around a few times. Sue said, well, so they are out there taking pictures and making their case because an arrest is coming. I mean, if you believe the president, the president, maybe he seemed to think that this was all going to sort of get going in the next day or two. Trish said it's a bit too obvious that the son-in-law is to blame. How many of you think it's the son-in-law? If you think it is, put the like number 1 in chat. How many of you think this is the whole time it's been the son-in-law and they're just trying to get enough evidence to arrest him? If you think it's that, you can put a 1 in the chat. Montana says the sheriff is a bit of an unusual guy. Yeah, he is a little bit. Oh, hey. Oh, a psyop theater. What? I'm not familiar whether there is any current laws before the court that this could affect, but you might be able to tell me. We get a lot of 1s. A lot of people seem to think it is the family member and the one that we've all seen photos of. Yeah, I'll get a photo. Hold on. Yeah, let me grab that photo. There he is there. And it seems like a lot of you think it's him. Now, his name is Tommaso Cioni. Now, I'm sure that is a name that you've heard from him before. Kelly said, I don't know if it's him, but the sheriff is denying it, so it makes me wonder if they are looking at him. They could be. What if Nancy is involved? For attention, for money, for fame, for what exactly? Kim says, I don't trust the guy with a long beard. I'm glad I don't have a long beard then. Trish said, I hope the lady's safe, but I think this is a huge stir the pot. You could be right. Zab, hey Zab. Too many people are judging a book by its cover. It's not him. Seen far too many racial comments in regards to him. Far too many. It's I would have thought that we could all dissect the facts of the case without having to go to race or what people are, you know, the color of their skin or whatever things like that. We've got enough bits and pieces to work with that we don't need to go to that level. But many people commenting in the YouTube chats, not this one but other ones, saying that things like he looks like someone that would do this type of crime, stuff like that. um why do there have to be existing laws that could affect for this to be a psyop? Because I would think normally they would use that to push through some sort of law. Normally they use at least the ones I've ever heard about. There's something an agenda that the authorities or the government would like to, add to their reasons of why it's a good idea. Montana said, too often people immediately jump to conclusions. This is true. Lisbeth said, I continue to not understand why this case has blown up so much. Actually, that's a good point. I was reading last night, there was a woman in Arizona whose daughter has been missing for 15 years. 15 years, her daughter. Her daughter's like 8, well, was at the time 8 years old. 8. Her daughter's been missing since I think it's like 2010 or 09. Wait, no, it must be like 2014 or something. And she was saying that when her daughter went missing, no one gave a crap. That there was no, YouTube and TV shows and people doing media interviews and stuff like that. And she was like, why in this particular case of a rich old white woman and not her daughter? And I could understand her pain of not understanding why her daughter did not get the attention that this particular case is getting. So I can understand and empathize with that woman. So Gail said only reason this is big is because of her daughter. Yes. So maybe there is a bill they haven't tabled yet. You might be correct. We might find out later. Wendy said we don't have any information from law enforcement to come to any conclusions. I mean, speculate is fine, but I hate to call out a family member unless there is something from police. Yeah, I haven't called him out. I just said a lot of people in the chat seem to think that's who it is. And I wanted to try and find out who and how many people are of this opinion. And it seems to be a lot of people are. I'd like to know why, but yeah, let's not do that. Trish says Mr. Ick has great insight into how high up folk fool us into thinking away or into looking away from corrupt politicians by throwing in a heart-pulling narrative. It probably does happen more than we like to admit. and more than we'd actually like to think about. Wendy says, because kidnapping and ransom notes don't happen often here, but missing children do. I guess they do. Hey, just fun. She's gone up with the toe green man. Could be. Gail said, exactly. I wouldn't say it on a live. That stays with people forever. Yeah. I just think you got to be very careful. There is some media people who have gone too far and been like talking in definitives, and you can't talk in definitives when you don't have the evidence to back it up. And that was pretty cruel of the person who did that. All right, let me say, yeah, let me take you out here. We'll talk about the ransom note a little bit more. Hold on.
Joining me now, former FBI Special Agent Brad Garrett. Brad, thank you for giving us some more time on this. Obviously, we had hoped that the Nancy Guthrie case would come to a conclusion with a positive end. We're still in this investigation, the investigation ongoing. More details released, though, this week in the latest news conference from Thursday, and a lot of thoughts around the deadline for what was this original ransom note. And then we had this other ransom note, that this individual appeared to be trying to take advantage of the situation, and that individual was arrested. Let's kind of walk through this from an investigative standpoint. Being a former special agent, how investigators are going through and navigating this right now.
So let's reference these two ransom notes. One that's led to an arrest. I think in fairly short order, they figured or were able to prove that was bogus, arrested the person, as you mentioned. Right. Now, the other note that at least is still in play has to do with a deadline of yesterday, Thursday, and then a second deadline of sometime on Monday. Strange, I've never heard of that, a ransom note. I think they upped the amount of money that they want. But the problem with that case maybe is twofold. Now, hopefully the FBI are able to break down these emails and maybe figure out where they came from. That's one aspect. The other is you now have Savannah Guthrie and now her brother go to the public and say, we really need proof of life. We want to talk to you, but we need proof of life.
And they've done that for a second time now as well.
They've done it for a second time. It obviously didn't work the first time.
That's a good point about the note, that they gave one all the way back, what was it, days and days ago now. They set a deadline of 5 p.m. And it came and passed. Nothing happened that we know about. They didn't get their money that, we hope they didn't get their money anyway. And they didn't provide any assurances that Nancy Guthrie was alive and no proof of life. We all wake up today and we find out there is another note that has been sent through. And this time, again, no proof of life given. And this time they were just trying to convince people that they are the same person from the previous note. It just sounds a bit wrong. If you were doing a ransom for money, wouldn't you be more concerned about the cash? Like, your whole point of kidnapping someone, if it is a ransom kidnap, is to get your money and get to Tijuana, not to mess around and send multiple notes and not open up a line of communication to get your money. So Ping tells you that it sounds odd. By the way, I'm looking at this from New Zealand. Hi, my New Zealand brother. Good to see you. Just give them the Monopoly money. We could do that. Dunderhead kidnapper. If this is a real kidnapping, and there's someone holding an 84-year-old woman somewhere waiting on their Bitcoin, then they are not doing a good job, because this could have been done and dusted 5 days ago, more than that. It could have been done and dusted the day she went missing. why drag it out? Your idea is to not hold on to the person, because if you don't have the medication for her, she could be getting more and more ill every day, becoming a liability. The idea is to, like I said, get your money and get the hell out. And that's not what's happening here. It's like they're just like, oh, we give you a deadline of 5 p.m., but if you don't meet that deadline, we could give you the weekend to think about it, and then we'll come back on Monday for a secondary deadline. I've never heard of a ransom note working in that particular way, where they're willing to delay the timeline of payments so often. Now, normally, if there's a pushback by authorities and they're like, we're not paying you, go away, then there might be something like that, but not in a first note to whoever you're trying to reach. So it's something a little off. Quite Deserve said, I'm really wondering if the ransom notes are a throw up. Yeah, I've been of the opinion that unless they can show a proof of life or something that only the family would know, then how do you ever take them as legitimate? Because it's very hard to do that without something, a breadcrumb to give to the family, to give them some hope. Like the idea of a kidnapping of this magnitude, if it is about money, is to draw the family in and make it seem like their only option is to pay the demand. But it doesn't even seem like that's what they're doing. Warner still said, why Bitcoin? How about something valuable like T-bills? I'm actually surprised if it is a monetary kidnapping that they wouldn't ask for US currency. Like Bitcoin is, as we all know, is traceable. And if you try and change it to whatever currency you want to change it into, you're going to get picked up. There is always, that is sort of the catch with Bitcoin, is that there has to be a point where you cash out. There has to be a cash out point of it. And when you do that and it goes to a bank account, you're done, because they'll just find you. Yeah, it's very odd. Elizabeth said there is no sense of urgency from the kidnappers. There is no urgency. It just seems like, they don't really care. It's like, oh, you didn't give us our Bitcoin? All right. No worries. We'll talk again on Monday. Caregiver said, hopefully an arrest by Monday. Hey, if you believe the president, and maybe we all saw what happened in Venezuela. Maybe by Monday we will all know who was behind it and where Nancy Guthrie is. Khalees says somebody who read the notes said they sounded like the person used AI to write them. I would not be surprised. They sounded like Bitcoin scams from the beginning, because a real kidnapper would just send you a photo of a battered and bruised, and I don't want anyone to do that to her, but I'm just saying, we obviously know she was bleeding. We obviously know she was roughed up and taken out of the house. They would just snap a photo and be like, here you go. Here's a photo of the victim. We have her. Give us our money. Like, they wouldn't play these games of, ooh, encrypted, double encrypted, and we're going to send it to KOLD. You know why I make fun of that? There was some dumbass in California who was able to dig up the family's contact details online and contact them, pretending to be a kidnapper, asking for the Bitcoin. So if you were the real kidnapper, don't you think that would have been easy done? You have the victim on you. They would be able to give you the contact number for their daughter. Why would you send it to KOLD, TMZ, whatever other news agency? It's ridiculous. Zarp, hey Zarp. They may have set up an overseas account in a country with no extradition treaty. Let Nancy go, fly overseas, and cash out the Bitcoin. That would only work in very few countries, like maybe Northern Cyprus or, some of the Middle Eastern countries. That might work. But even people in Dubai and stuff like that, they've been caught over there for fraud and different crimes. Kelly said, and to set the deadline before they didn't even meet the first one is odd. I think to set a double deadline within the first sort of communication is like a double negative within the one thing, because you're almost giving the authorities and the family a way out already. So your aim with this is to pressurize the situation. Your aim is to pressurize to get what you want, which is the demand. Why would you then give them a way out? You're already like, hey, can't get that money by Wednesday? No worries. We're very kind kidnappers. We have a payment plan. Come back next Monday and pay your installment to get your loved one back. It's very odd. Montana said, has anyone gotten away with extorting Bitcoin? Yes, there have been people who have gotten away with it. I don't know for how long, but people have been able to get Bitcoin from people. There's actually a big explosion in, not so much in America, but in some other countries in Europe. There is a big thing about rich people who have a lot of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency being taken hostage and even murdered to get Bitcoin from them. So they will abduct them and try and get the keys to the wallet. And then if they can't, they'll kill them. If they can, sometimes they still kill them. And this has been a big there's been a big rise in it over the last like 2 to 3 years. Here, I'll show you. Here, let me see if I can find. Yeah, there was an article late last year that detailed it. Yeah, there's a thing on Bloomberg. I'll see if we can load it. See, crypto traders seek out extra security as kidnappings rise. And they're saying cryptocurrency traders are being targeted by criminals who use online information to identify and locate them, leading to violent kidnappings and thefts. And they're saying over 60 such attacks have been documented globally just in 2025, resulting in tens of millions of dollars in losses, with some believing the true number is far higher due to underreporting. So, yeah, a lot of people who are quite rich with cryptocurrency have been kidnapped, bashed, murdered, all sorts of things to try and get that cryptocurrency. So it's not just, in this particular situation. Montana said, might be an idea not to appear to have any assets. No one would then be interested in ripping you off. That's a good point. Kelly said the home invasion 2 weeks ago in Scottsdale, Arizona, they also demanded cryptocurrency, but it was just 2 idiot teens who were caught. I'm not surprised. Trish said the lady is not royalty. She's just a normal granny who owns her home, and her children are probably worth more deceased than she is. So I just don't get it. Yeah, it's an odd target, right? Why not take why not take the famous daughter? Like, she's the one that's worth money. Yeah. Hey Steve, how are you? Most Americans have life insurance policies. That is true, they do. It might be an insurance policy kidnapping rather than a Bitcoin kidnapping. A woman of Steel said she owned that house since 1991. A normal person, I don't think any of the family is rich. I think the daughter is rich. I think Savannah is well off. How much do you think they pay the daughter to be on Today or whatever it is? It's got to be in the millions. Those people on your morning TV, especially the national, not the ones on the local, syndicate, but the ones on the national TV, it's millions per year, absolute millions, a lot. What good work to her, by the way. Good work for getting that and doing that with your life. It should be applauded rather than, you know, the other way. But it's a lot of money. Yeah. Kaliza said people say Savannah is worth $45 million. I would believe you. Bengal cat chili. That's a cool name. It's 8 million a year. Like an NFL coach. Like an NFL coach. But yeah, it's probably something around there. They get paid a lot of money. All right. And about 8 to 9 million. Yeah, I would believe it. The top talent in Australia, which is a much smaller market, they get paid around 1 million to 2 million per year. And it's a much smaller advertising market than it is in America with your hundreds of millions of people. Caregiver said Savannah should have took better care of her mum. If they had paid the security camera subscription, we may all know who did this already. If they had just done that one thing, just paid the subscription for the camera. They didn't, so we don't have a remote copy of those cameras. Bengal said she was born in Australia. She was, and she lived here till she was about 2 years old, and then she moved to America. So she was here in my country for a little while. Thavi said she probably trusts her sister and brother-in-law. They were 10 minutes up the street. You would think so. Khalees said it seemed kind of cheap though to offer only 250K for her mum's safe return. I guess. Or yeah, if they had a life alert necklace. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. We sometimes get the advertisements for that in Australia when we watch American TV. You know that one where the old lady is near the bathtub and she's fallen and she can't get up, and then she has the life alert necklace and she tells them like to come and help her, and then that big, you know, I think it's a paramedic or a firefighter comes in and they carry her out the room. And she's like, oh my God, I couldn't have done it without my life alert. Maybe. Caregiver said the kids failed her. I don't know if they failed her. I think there's things that if we're playing Monday morning quarterback that could have been changed, right? I think we all agree could have paid the for the cameras to record the video. That's a very cheap option that could have changed this entire case. So if you're out there and you have an elderly person in your family and they have those cameras but they don't pay for the storage of the video, maybe it's something you want to look into. So, God forbid, if anything happened to your family, at least you would have the evidence. You would have the video to try and track down the people. Because in this one, they don't. They don't have it. And I'm sure if you ask Savannah today, would she pay $100,000 a year for that video? She'd probably tell you, yeah. So if you have those cameras with a elderly family member, maybe think of looking at paying for the recording. I know it's expensive. Actually, how much is it? Oh, Bengal said, I work for Life Alert style pendant in Australia in a call center. Do you really? Sold for 1,600, cost $30 from China. Really? Is that true? Oh, okay. The monitoring was a spreadsheet and a mobile phone. It's called EMS. Don't buy it. Thank you for your, public service announcement. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Let's see. What did it cost? So she had a Nest camera. Let's see what the Nest camera cost to do the recording. Nest camera. Video recording remote storage cost. Okay. So if she really did have a Nest camera, which is what we've sort of been talking about, right? I think that's the name of what I've heard. It cost, you're never going to believe this. How much do you think it costs? $10,000 a year? $80,000 a year? How much do you think it costs to remote doing that? It is, even if you get the premium version and it keeps videos for 2 months, it costs a yearly price of $200. And then if you want the cloud storage, what is this one? The Nest camera, I don't know. If you had a Ring doorbell, Ring only charges $50 a year. Google, $200 a year. That might have changed the case completely if they had that video on a remote cloud storage. $200. You think about that now, that her daughter, makes $8 million a year before tax, and they didn't want to pay the $20 a month or whatever it is. Could have made this thing completely different. It is shocking, right? So like we said, if you have an elderly family member who has these cameras thinking, oh, I don't need to pay for that, we just use it when Amazon comes to the door, maybe think of paying for the the premium package. Montana says somebody was a tightwad. Yeah, seems so. Kim says maybe not paying for it was part of the plan. Maybe. You might be right. Caregiver said $40 million and couldn't buy her mum a subscription. I know, right? Him says, I'm going to call you Himni. What do you want me to call you? Himmy? Himmy. I'm going to call you Himmy. This seems like a way to implement mandatory digital ID. They already have the surveillance technology in place, which has the ability to locate everyone through biosensors with 6G. I can't say I've heard much about that one yet. I'll have to look into it. Wendy said, I have a Nest camera Bluetooth and it cost me maybe $60, but do you have the package to record the video on a server on a cloud? So I think the Google one is called like Google Home Premium, and it uploads it to like Google Storage or whatever. Do you have that one, or do you just have the camera? Because that would be interesting to know. No, you don't have it? Okay. No to a cloud-like place. Okay. All right, let's continue on our video. Just watch a little bit more about the where is it? We've lost it. Great. Good work, Ping. There we go.
My fear is it won't work the second time. All well intended. I hope it does work.
Mhm.
So if that's the case, if it ends up it doesn't work the second time and we get to Monday in the next deadline and they haven't tried to communicate either with law enforcement or the family, then you have two possibilities. One, they are the right kidnappers, but she's deceased, or you don't have the right kidnappers. You've got scammers. And so we'll see.
Right. Because ultimately, it could turn out that this original ransom note that showed up could, again, just be somebody trying to take advantage of the situation and exploit, get money out of the family, and may not even be tied to her disappearance at all.
It's very possible that this note, A, it could be valid, and B, it could not be valid at all and
Right.
fall into the scammer category. So, and I think that's where they're trying to quickly get to, maybe before Monday.
When we talk about the technology aspect of what's available and what the FBI brings to the table, I know that there is a piece of equipment that is used in some of these scenarios when they can look at, like Nancy's phone was left behind. They can specifically go in and look at that phone. We don't realize it. We talk on our phones.
So it won't be new information to people who follow true crime. What he's talking about is Celebrite. You would have seen it in court cases, in evidence, that type of thing. It is a digital software and equipment. So when you go into a police station and they take your phone, they take it into the back room, they plug it in, and they press a button. It scans your phone and copies everything and then spits out a report. And it'll say, these are how many photos, these are how many videos, and you can go from there. You can actually narrow it down, look for keywords, look for, depending what you're looking for. You can look for all sorts of different things. So that's what he's talking about there, which they probably did for her phone that was left behind. Charpel says, why did Nancy take an Uber to her daughter's home? I wonder if it's because she didn't like driving at night. Maybe she didn't drive at night anymore, and she knew that going to her daughter's house, she would probably be going home like 9:30 at night, and she didn't want to drive in the dark. So she knew they would give her a lift home, and she just had to get there. So she's like, I'll just get in an Uber, and then they'll drive me home in the evening. Could be. All the cat gifts. Steve, hey Steve. There's something in them ransom notes that only the mother and family would know. It would have to be, you would think, for them to even consider it. But I think what they want is a video. Bengal said, if I ever get arrested, the cops will get some sweet cat gifts. Okay. You better keep up that promise. Montana said someone is going to be cuffed for this soon. Just wondering how many charges they are stupid enough to tobacco for themselves. I don't know how many tobacco charges they will get. Well, we'll see. Yeah, especially if she is injured or not alive. You are right. Let's see. Yeah, the next deadline is Monday. We just don't know a time. Kelly said, I don't find the taking an Uber to her daughter's house that strange. Maybe her daughter was too busy to pick her up, or who knows. You might be right. Thank you, Bengal. I appreciate it. Nice to hear an Australian perspective of this. We've done a lot of cases. We've done Gus Lamont. Last year, I was at the Aaron Patterson trial. Done a bunch of different things. So thank you. I appreciate it. It's very nice of you. Thank you for the super chat. Caregiver said, I think an arrest is coming soon. We'll see. Maybe Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday? Will we get an arrest before we find out if it's the Seahawks or the Patriots? Kremer? I don't know that one. Hold on. Oh, no. I know who you're talking about. Sorry. The last name sort of threw me, but I know who you're talking about. It's the girl in Tasmania who she went hiking and then she didn't come home. She's the tourist girl. Yeah, it is very interesting about that one. You know, I heard this week a theory. They actually think what happened is when she got lost, she tried to cross the river and then she was walking along dead trees that go across the river, and she thought she could cross the river while walking along the dead tree, and that she fell into the water and the water sucked her under the trees and trapped her, and that's how she died. That is a really terrifying thought of maybe that's how she died. Like, could you imagine that? You're in the forest all alone. You sort of lose your direction and you go, okay, I have to cross this river to get back to my car. And you walk across and fall and then get sucked under. There's no one to help you, there's no one to call for help. No one would have seen it happen. It's a really horrifying thought that that might have been the end of her life. But yeah, Bengal said Crema is heartbreaking. She was so close. Yeah, not that far away from her car. You need to look out for them Australians. Yeah. Hey, we have some. You know what? Pavlova is Australian, made here. We invented it. There you go. Gotcha. And Ice House, they might actually be Australian. Gayla said, "Nope, I can't breathe thinking about it." Um, it's a really horrible situation. Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing him. Trish said, "Anything else? Anything about Trish? I don't have any new information about Trisha Graff. I have not heard from Max in a while. He will have gone to high school this year, like this week actually. He would have headed back for his first week of high school. But I don't have any new information about Trisha Graff, unfortunately. No new information right now. Um, I know police are still looking for her, and their investigation continues, but that's all I know. You're a Kiwi on the Gold Coast? Ah, you're in Queensland? Okay. I'm in Victoria, so I'm down in the south of the border in Australian Mexico, down here. What does Kelly say? Nope, we'll never say that on this channel. Ever. I can't read this comment. Never. So I'm going to say, go Patriots. Have a great day, Patriots. I hope you win a ring. Oh, actually, some good news. The 49ers and the LA Rams are going to play in Melbourne this year. And I am so excited because I'm a giant Niners fan. And it is like my dream that they would come and play here. And I cannot believe they are going to play a regular season game in Melbourne this year. It's going to be great. Go the winner. Steve said, why hasn't Annie and her husband released a video or statement? Didn't the daughter release a video? She did with her sister, right? I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Um, I'm pretty sure she did. Yeah, she did, right? That's her the husband is not in the video, but that's her there, right? On the end. That's the 3 children. So they did, but she didn't do one on her own, I guess is what you're saying. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It'll be fun. Aside from the mushroom killings, if you've never been to this channel before, Bengal, I was at the trial last year and I know far too much about Aaron Patterson. Far too much. I know we actually broke news on this channel for that trial, so I know far too much about Aaron. Gail said she was on it when all three were together. Yeah, here, she's on the end right there. Kelly Gale says Annie looks distraught. She does look very upset in the video. Bengal said, wow, trial number 2 will be fun. If she gets it, we'll have, so she has a problem right now. She has to seek leave to appeal. And she hasn't been granted that leave as of yet. So we have to first do that. Second, do the appeal. See if she wins her appeal, then we would then it's a possibility we would head back to trial. But there's a long road to go before we do that. Distraught hiding something. Kelly said, and far too much about mushrooms. Yeah, I know too much about how death caps work now. Gayla said, I thought she was sedated. All right. No, I didn't. Not a chance. No. All right, hold on. Let's go here. Guthrie. Since we all seem to have differing opinions on that video, let's watch it very quickly. I just got to find a copy that we can use. Hold on. Yep, there we go. Wait, that's not the right one. Sorry, guys. Hold on. You would have thought there would have been one done by them. All right. All right. Hopefully the video
just
loads.
moments ago, we did see.
Let's load this up.
On behalf of our family, we want to thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom, Nancy. We feel them, and we continue to believe that she feels them too. Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fiercely loving woman of goodness and light. She's funny, and spunky, and clever. She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses. She loves fun and adventure. She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances.
Savannah is very distraught, but her sister, and I don't want to judge someone's grief, just, yeah, very, very subdued. Very subdued. Someone brought up here. Where is it? Have you heard the theory part of the blood from Nancy being aspirated? I think that might have come from me. I think I was the first one who came up with that theory. So a lot of people may have co-opted it from my channel and then ran with it because we were talking about that like 5 days ago or something. So people may have got it from here, used it on their channel, and then gone around in a circle. It happens, unfortunately, in YouTube. Oh, well, Gray probably got it from here because, yeah, we said it on here. So it just happens, though. It goes around in circles and information goes over here into here. And so he may have got it from here. Yeah, we have a lot of people who watch here and at Gray. So it could have been a viewer mentioned it or he got it from them or I don't know. You never know. You never know where and how people find stuff. Kelly said, "Did you watch Brian Enton's interview with ex-Border Patrol showing the area and how they would track her?" I didn't see that one. I didn't get to see his video on it, unfortunately. Wendy said, "I would need to be highly medicated during all of this, like a tranquilizer." Caregiver said they are medicated. Do you think that you would have to be? Do you think they give medication to these type of families when they're in a situation like I don't know, maybe. Bengal City confirmed it with a guy from the Jodi Arias case. You're both probably just smart true crime people. Maybe it could be true. The guy from the Jodi Arias case, you mean her lawyer? Is that who he spoke to? Lindy said for sure they give meds. Yeah, okay. I've never been in the situation, so I'm not sure. Oh, okay. They give them like Valium or something like that. Yep. I'm sure they called their doctor and got something. That might be why she's so down. So I wouldn't say like judge her because maybe she is on like 20 Valium. I mean, if your mum went missing, maybe you would have to be too. Caregiver said this is so hard for them. Tomorrow will be a week, right? It's a long time for an 84-year-old to be missing. Wendy said, I was given meds when my mum was dying at hospital. The hospital didn't give me any good drugs when she was dying in hospital. I might have to submit a complaint. No one gave me any good Valium or anything. They were just like, you're a good guy, you'll be fine. And I was like, I have to deal with all this on my own. They're like, sure, you'll be all right. They didn't give me anything. Sean said, saying talk to her and you'll find out was weird or coincidental in regards to the movie. It was either a crossover of just the English language or it was a coded message. Maybe there was something in the ransom note that coincides with. Maybe they had a quote from the movie in the note and then they used that sort of same movie to send a message, to try and reach out to the kidnapper. Who knows? Bengal said the guy even said looks aspirated like in the Jodi case. I think he was the prosecutor. Yeah, it definitely did. The reason I know about it is because in November and December of last year, I did a trial where it was mostly blood evidence, and we had a blood spatter expert that was there, and we had to listen to his evidence for like it was days and days and days of blood evidence. So I picked up a few things throughout the trial of what to look for. And that's how I knew it looked aspirated, is because of what we saw at that trial. So yeah, I'm glad more than one person thinks the same idea. Cali Girl says it doesn't help that you have creators outright accusing her of it either. No, I guess not. Gail said, when she was talking about in this valley, I wondered if it was code. I definitely think in this video there is a coded or code words. With the FBI being there, with them knowing what was in the ransom note, I would not be surprised. They do all sorts of little tricks like this to try and reach out to the attacker. Now, they may have tried to send an email back to the attacker or the kidnapper, and they may have left an instruction in it. Hey, we're going to do a family video. We need to know if you're watching. Look for the code word or, something like that. It'll be from a
woman,
movie.
spunky and clever. She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses. She loves fun and adventure. She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances. She chooses joy day after day. Despite having already passed through great trials of pain and grief, we are always going to be merely human, just normal human people who need our mom. Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home. We miss you.
I don't know why, but listening to her is very difficult. And I find her, and I don't mean to be mean at all. I find her very disturbing or almost freaky to listen to. And it's not like pointing anything at her or anything like that. It's just this particular video. I don't know what she speaks like in day-to-day life, but just in this particular video, the way she enunciates and says things, it just comes off. No, I don't even mean like it's not rehearsed. I know that because the FBI basically said that they did that. But just the way she says it, I don't know. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that she's involved. It doesn't mean that her husband's involved. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying that it just, I don't know. It just comes across as maybe just flat. Maybe flat is the word. Lynn D said, I think she overdid the tranquilizer. Yeah, it's just very, yeah, flat is the word I would think. Very melancholy, a little bit. Steve said, news said there were meds left at the home, but someone could have took some pills out of the bottle. They could have, or she could have had like, do you know how some people have like a medication caddy? And they put the medication in for like a month or a couple of weeks or something like that. They could have taken it from that, or they could have taken it from a spare bottle. Like she could have had some in her handbag that she takes with her. Like there could be multiple places where older people, because they always want to have their medication on them in case they need it. So they may have been multiple places that she had medication for her conditions. Missy said, very standoffish, very unattached, very melancholy. Kego says, we know what you mean by, yeah, well, yes, like void of a, yeah, that might be the good way of putting it. Khaliza said, yes, Ping, I got that too, like too slow, too flat, strange wording, normal human people. Yeah. But like, I don't want to judge her grief or judge the way she is dealing with the situation. I'm just commenting on what I'm watching, if that makes sense. I don't mean anything personal to her. Thavi said, yes, leave the bottle to throw Ellie off. And how would you know unless you went back and got the prescription, knew when it was filled, counted out all the tablets and went, oh my God, there's 12 missing or there's 15 missing, which maybe they would go to that effort in this type of case, but maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they haven't looked at it yet. You could just take a handful and take them with you. We don't know. Kelly said it makes sense. It's just an observation. Yeah, it's just an observation. Montana said, one would not speak to act normally with that kind of personal stress. True, because I'm guessing a lot of them haven't got a lot of sleep. With their mum missing for multiple days, they've got a lot of media in their backyard and, um, family members to look after and stuff. So, Care said she's definitely medicated. Could be. Like, people in the chat said they give out Valium and things like that. So, Betsy said, but yeah, why say normal human assumption of wealth? Did I say normal people? I think someone in the chat said that. I don't know if I said normal people. I think someone in the chat used that phrase. Bengal said closing the scene off 3 times is either incompetence or I'm not sure what else. I think the sheriff admitted that was a mistake, that they shouldn't have opened up the scene so quickly, because as soon as they opened it up, the media were up at the front door taking photos of the blood, trampling on things, contaminating different stuff. It should have been locked off until they had a resolution. It should have just been done. Like, you cannot enter the house. It's a crime scene, and we've taped it off. And until we find Nancy and arrest someone, it's no access. And they seal the home and put the sticker over the door. So, and they sign it so they know that no one's been in there, and that's how it should have been. Oh, Annie said it? Okay. Quite Deserved said, thank you, Ping. She makes you feel off. Oh, the sister said it. Okay. Uh, DJG said, the sister-in-law looks like Stephen Stearns. I'm betting the sister-in-law? Son-in-law. Looks like Stephen Stearns. He does a little bit. I don't mean to put that on him, because I don't think we should ever call anyone on earth Stephen Stearns. But yeah, you have a point. Bengal said, I honestly thought the family would have stayed in the home. Well, you can't. You can't. When it's a crime scene, you can't go there, and you can't live in it. So most of the time, the authorities, and they have a family officer who is like a family relations officer. They would have given them advice saying, "Hey, you need to get away from here. You can't go to your mom's house. You can't live here. You can't stay here. You can't go inside. You need to find somewhere else to hunker down." And preferably somewhere that the media doesn't know. But, some of them live locally and they don't have a choice. So maybe they just went, we will just deal with the media being outside, but they have a family relation or liaison officer who would have helped them. Trish said, if you're on blood thinners, a little cut can seem like a lot of blood. Yeah, I don't think it was a lot of blood. I think it was more like someone who had been like whacked in the mouth, or maybe elbowed in the nose or something like that. Like, not a massive amount of blood, more like when they were trying to get her out of the bed or get her out of the home, they whacked her accidentally or on purpose, and it's just caused some bleeding. When I looked at the photo, I didn't see a severe cut. Almost looked like like if you're on blood thinners and you split your lip, that would explain the aspiration and the blood flow, because you bleed quite a bit from your lip, and then you could aspirate too, depending on the blood flow. It could be something like that. Don't know, but it's just, talking. Khaleesi said the sheriff denied there was any blood at the scene after releasing it. Then Brian Enton showed it on video. Then he finally had to admit that there was blood, but they hadn't tested it. Then the FBI came in. It was a little bit of a screw up. Diane said bloody nose droplets. Well, true, because it runs down the back of your nose into your throat, and then you might aspirate it while also have it dripping out of your nose. So maybe a bloody nose. Kelly said, I pray she's found, but chances she's alive are slim. I would agree with you. Let's have a look. Or spit, yeah, could be. I don't know if, yeah, possibly. All right. Let's wind up. Hey, it's been so great to see so many new names in the chat. I hope if you're a new person to the chat, I hope you come back and hang out with us some more. On other nights, we're here for like 2.5, 3 hours sometimes. It just depends on what time we end up getting on. But tonight, because the other show ran really late, we were on very late. So yeah, sometimes we're on for like many hours. So I hope you subscribe. Please do that. That would help me out a lot. And hit the thumbs up for me. Bengal said your thumbnail drew me in. Thank you. I designed it myself. I did it myself, and I appreciate it. It's very kind. Lovey for love for. You have to tell me how to pronounce your name. Anything on the search helicopter searched for 5 hours, made remote landing. A medical helicopter landed around the same time. It returned to the airport. Medical helicopter went to trauma center after. I think, are you sure it's for this one? There was a police shooting last night in Arizona, and they had a medical helicopter. 3 officers were shot. So I don't know if it's for that one, maybe. And they were searching for a suspect as well. So I don't know if it just sort of crossed over with the Guthrie case. But yesterday was a very hard day in Arizona for law enforcement. DPS had a helicopter go down and crash, killing 2 people in the helicopter. Then they had a officer-involved shooting later that same day where 3 officers were shot. And so they had a really bad day yesterday. So that might have been why you saw the trauma helicopter. When was this? Last night. Here, I'll show it to you. Do you guys want to see that one? Give me a second. I'll see if I can find it. Yeah, it should be here. Where is it? Here.
Yeah, good morning, Scott. And if you add the Flagstaff to this as well, then there's up to 5 altogether. This one where I'm standing is 23rd Avenue and Indian School, where you see it remains closed in both directions all the way over to I-17. This was an officer-involved shooting involving DPS and a SWAT team who were serving a high-risk search warrant yesterday. This all happened at the ANF RV and trailer park when they were conducting that search warrant. They say that's where that officer-involved shooting occurred. We know at least 1 trooper was shot, taken to the hospital. At least 3 other people were injured in this shooting, including the suspect who remains at the hospital. We understand that all of them are going to be okay. And just about an hour after this one got kicked out, there was also a call of an officer-involved shooting in Chandler. This one happened over near Arizona Avenue and Riggs. This one was a traffic stop, is what Chandler police tell us, where a passenger pulled out of the car and started shooting at officers. Well, officers from Chandler police department shot back. Multiple officers shot back at this suspect, where that person was then shot. Also, a canine dog took a bite of that suspect before he was taken into custody. And
Yeah, so as you can see, there was a lot of stuff going on in Arizona over the especially Phoenix over the last 24 hours. You had the helicopter crash in Flagstaff, which is in the northern part of the state, and then all this that happened in the city. So I don't know if it's related, but U.S. Army helicopter searched around 5 hours near Sierra mine. I'm not familiar with the location. I'll check into it for you and I'll see, because I'm pretty good with the aircraft software where you can like go in and have a look and then retrace the the different aircraft in different areas. I'll see what I can find before we do our next live show for you. Okay, I'll go into Arizona and I'll see if I can track it down, and then we might be able to find out where it went, what its tail sign was, why it was there. I'll see what I can do for you. Yeah, hey guys, I love you all. Wendy Wobble says, thank you, Ping. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. We also have links always under the video for people. And Montana, thanks for everything. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have a live show, just not on the on your Sunday, which is the Monday. So on Monday, I have a court day on Monday anyway for a court case that I can't tell you about. But I'm in court on Monday, and that works out well because we're not doing a Sunday show anymore. But I'll be back tomorrow night for Saturday night or Sunday in Australia. But I'll be back tomorrow night to come and hang out with you guys. Thank you. I'll look it up. G72041. Thank you. I will look it up for you and I'll see what I can find out. Yes, thank you. Thanks to the mods for doing good work. You forgot about PayPal. That's all right. The links are underneath the video or in the chat. We have so many lovely people that always help out, helping with donations and things. We don't like to talk about it. We've got far too much news to bring you each night that we're not going to sit here and constantly badger viewers, and we don't do that here. We just bring you the information that you need to know. Love you all. Good night, everyone. Bye.